All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. See if we see that it has BSS, aka boudoir search sameness, with these two Google searches here. And back here in the GBC universe, we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, F6 is our North Star, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, wherever. It's because F6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our full spectrum intent capture here in white. Got our highest intent peeps over on the left. There's people using social search, Google search, looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent people, and we deal with those with our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS, and we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here, these videos talk about BSS. And BSS is boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. Both are terrible. If we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, which means 80% of people, they're page 1 only searches, which means page 1 is the only place that matters. Page 2 and deeper, we're basically dead. 1 slot. If we got 1 slot on page 1 Google, that ain't enough. And that ain't enough because everyone else has got 1 slot as well. Some people may have 2. And so we're going to be, price shop to death. Buyers just going to go down, hit each link, open up their website, contact them, price shop, negotiate, price shop. And, just the killer for every boudoir photography business. Now, 0-1 slots at page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not. There's 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and then the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, yeah, people get a new iPhone, get a new camera, get new gear. They throw up their Google Maps profile, saying they shoot boudoir. They throw up their website, saying they shoot boudoir, compete on page 1 for the high intent keywords with us. And they also, they also come in, through like COVID. That was like big market saturation. People lost their jobs, but everyone has a smartphone with awesome cameras. So a ton of new boudoir photographers came through, and that's more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every seller to win, every individual seller to win. Now the false belief of page 1 equality, this is an interesting one, because from what I've discovered seems like nearly all boudoir photographers kind of accept that I don't know, each boudoir photographer should either get 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and however the dice falls, that's simply what it is. Maybe they had 1 slot page 1, then someone new came in, ranked their website higher, they got, and it pushed them off to page 2, and it's like, okay, well, that's simply how it is, and that's how it is. But in fact, we've discovered that Google actually give as many page 1 slots as someone wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google page 1 in only 10 days using this new strategy that we developed, that you'll see in 2 pictures here. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So if we're on page, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, and we're missing, approximately 80% of searches never even seeing us. Yeah, we're definitely disappearing boudoir photographer. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still invisible. We're disappearing boudoir photographer. And this is kind of the first sign, the canary in the coal mine, the blinking warning light telling us that, basically telling us that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing once this happens. So this is our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. There's a false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, finally, we have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. And the way it works is right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent buyer, boudoir buyer keywords to show up there. And when we do show up there, we're dominating social search. That's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America, where the snow is melting, it's flowing into small, flowing into small streams, small rivers, and eventually at the end it flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is page one on Google, but we first got to get the snow and the small rivers, small streams first. The inputs, that's saturating social search. And what's awesome about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation in a reasonable time, and successfully compete against market saturation. The only other thing that I've seen that can do it obviously is a brand, massive well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to actually acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. We got AI coming, taking people's jobs, gonna force more people to be, into the photography market as photographers. We don't have time to rely 5 to 10 years to create a brand anymore. But now, an example of how SQ methodology, still can allow boudoir photography business to grow in the face of massive market saturation. Let's say got 1 million boudoir photographers in Topeka, Kansas, and we're one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they do boudoir, and as a result, we are actually now competing against, we got 999,999 other competitors. And so competition is super fierce on page one of Google. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max. And let's say, dude, we're able to get the first 300 slots for like all the highest intent keywords across all social media search platforms. And let's say as a result, that flows onto Google, and let's say we got the first 300 slots on Google as well. And there's 10 slots per organic slots per page on Google, so we're taking up the first 30 pages. A buyer literally basically needs to go to page 31 to essentially find any of our competitors. Same if they search anywhere in social media as well. We're taking up all those first 300 slots. So whose business is growing in this case? Ours. Why? Because we're basically the only ones seen anywhere. We're seen. Everywhere someone searches, we're there taking up all the slots. And so, even though there's massive market saturation, we're still the business that's growing, and everyone else is disappearing, slowing down, shrinking, going away. So that's the magic of SQ methodology. Next, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And so, we got the first initial benefit, which is more page one slots. The second initial benefit is every new slot we take on page one, we actually are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Because now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making them invisible to, 4 out of every 5 people, approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market. And we're getting like double, triple, quadruple the exposure. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC recommended minimum of 3 slots comes in, because basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot. Our 3 slots going to dominate them. And there's also going to be a small chance someone could have 2 slots, but we're going to dominate them as well because we got 3. That's what BSV means. And boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and, most importantly, the false belief of page one inequality, which we now know is false, which we'll see my results with it, proving it false in the next picture. Finally, thankfully, thank the universe, we finally got the solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility, we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, dude, so now my results using SQ methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the, you can see right here, the words BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one on Google for these words. So I purely used my S-cubed methodology. Come down here to the organic slots here. So I start with 0 slots on page one. And here we go. First organic slot, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one in Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days, exclusively utilizing S-cubed methodology. So now we're going to look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check. So all this is based on the Google page one searches here. So we got these two Google searches. Let's check these out. So first one, we got boudoir photographer. Is that the first one? No, I think. Oh no, St. Augustine should be the first one. I got to do St. Augustine here. Boudoir photography, St. Augustine. St. Augustine. And there we go. All right. So let's see what we got here. Look for a supernova. There we go. So we got they got one slot. And all right, we got two slots here. Wedding wire. Yeah. We do not have BSS, so we got two slots here. That's fine. That's good. We perfect. Now we've not hit the GBC minimum. We want to have 3 out of 10 here, but hey, we do not have BSS for the search, so that's good. Now we want to hit the GBC 3 out of 10 minimum because that's kind of the only safe time we can say, hey, we're not going to disappear, we're not going to decline. We may not grow, but we'll probably at least tread water. So no BSS, but we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here. Now let's check our Jacksonville, Florida. All right, so still looking for the same supernova. So we got one. And nope. All right, none of these are specifically about us only. We got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for the second search at Jacksonville, Florida. Bigger city. So BSS is more common in the bigger cities, obviously, more keyword competition. So we do not have BSS for St. Augustine, Florida. That's good, but we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. But we do have BSS for the Jacksonville, Florida search, and we also did not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you do the local search for yourself, you do the city search for yourself, you realize, you got BSS in one or both places, or you're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on Google page one search for either local or city or both. And you actually, now, since we put into words that page one equality belief, you're like, oh yeah, that is false. I didn't really think about it. There wasn't really a word or phrase for it before. So I don't know, I didn't really think about it at all. But now, since we got a name for it, oh yeah, that thing's definitely false. I definitely see, we can take as many slots as we want. And you understand the market saturation, the 3 prongs. 1, people get new phones. 2, people get new cameras. And then you're also foreshadowing, you have the foresight to see the third one, which is AI is taking way and way and way more people's jobs more and more over time. And as that happens, more and more boudoir photographers are going to be forced to enter the market, becoming boudoir photographers because they already got a phone, man. They already got a phone. And they've heard boudoir photography is high ticket. There's going to be more and more boudoir photographers entering the market. And you already know that because everyone already has a phone, a good powered iPhone or, good powered phone with a camera. So there'll be more sellers, boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers. But you also know that S-cubed methodology will allow you to fortify your position Google page one and kind of prevent those new boudoir photographers from ever getting on page, those new entrants that come from AI taking people's jobs and still to earn money. They actually, are actually made to kind of like putting up levees for like, New Orleans has levees to keep the ocean out because it's below ocean sea level. Kind of like fortifying your levees, dominate as much as you can, take as much page one as you want with using S-cubed methodology. Because you see the big tsunami with boudoir photographers is going to be coming into the market as a result of AI. And so you see S-cubed methodology is the one path forward to solve BSS and prevent your position from eroding on page one, and actually take as many positions on page one as you want. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer, and you want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you need that on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And in addition, you actually want the other two bonuses, back-end bonuses. One, which is, as we execute S-Cube's methodology, we're actually kind of building up thematic keyword columns attached to our brand. And as we build those up, build up the history, build up the thematic keyword strength and relevance connected to our brand, our website, our social profiles, then what actually happens is we increase the probability. Up here, we are shown as the only slot, the premium slot, the only one recommendation here in the AI overview. And that's premium placement. So every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability of this. And also, in parallel, in the back end, every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI apps, AI search apps recommend us. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google, Gemini. We are increasing the probability these AI search engines rank us because we're building up these back-end thematic columns of keywords through using S-cubed methodology to, yes, saturate social search. Yes, rank page one on Google. Yes, kick out our competitors from page one on Google, essentially making them invisible to the bulk of the market, the approximately 80% that never even hit page two on Google. And yes, higher chance we get ranked AI overview at the top. And yes, higher chance we get ranked and pushed AI search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and it only displayed 3 to me. Literally 3 in that city had 60 or somewhere around there. So you want all these benefits, and you also know that you want to become a first mover in your city because for every day you execute S-Cube's methodology and all these benefits, fortifying your position of the oncoming AI, forced boudoir photographers entering the market, building up the back-end momentum for being recommended in AI overview and AI search apps. And every day we build that more and more and more. You're putting more and more space between you and all the other boudoir photographers currently in your city and in the city in the future, where they would have to do so much to catch up, it'd basically be impossible, where many people simply stop competing. And on the flip side, if some other boudoir photographer in the city were to work with me instead, because my plan right now is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you would have to rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, and you wouldn't even know if you derived it correctly to even execute it correctly. And then you'd be having to go execute, and you wouldn't be confident because you wouldn't know if you derived it correctly. So you'd have to go ahead and execute. And if you equaled our execution, our volume of execution with your competitor, you would simply maintain the gap between us that would already have been created. And to pass us, you'd have to derive it correctly, execute it correctly, and probably double our execution every single day in order to surpass the progress, close the gap and then pass us with the progress and momentum we would already made, and kind of pull back that back-end AI search momentum from us, pull back the AI overview momentum for us. It's basically who's got the time. Dude, there's only 24 hours a day. Who's got the time to do all that? So you decided, hey, you're going to be the first mover. So if that's in your city, really set yourself up for success. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. But when I am accepting new patients, shoot me a DM and we'll ask you some questions. We'll see if you qualify for the S-cubed methodology.